It's Tuesday, July 26th, and this is now on HNN.
A teenage girl dies after being pulled from waters off MOANA Beach Park.
Certainly have seen an increase in their bellicose rhetoric with respect to Taiwan.
China is warning it will respond forcefully if Nancy Pelosi proceeds with a visit to Taiwan.
Now we're seeing the weight of the water cause some issues with buildings.
Severe weather strikes the nation's heartland. St. Louis, Missouri, dealing with some historic flooding.
Plus, here's a new option for your next vacation: hanging out at an expensive resort and using its amenities without having to book a full overnight stay. We've got details on this deal coming up on This Is Now.
And we begin with this important update. HPD says a 14-year-old girl has died after being pulled from waters off MOANA Beach Park. First responders said they arrived to the scene around 7 last night and found a 9-year-old and a 14-year-old who had run into trouble in the water. Officials say 2 female bystanders and the victim's sister found the victim floating unresponsive about 100 yards away from one of the lifeguard towers. They then brought the girl to shore. EMS treated the girl and transported her to the hospital in critical condition, where she passed away. Officials say the 9-year-old was hospitalized in serious but stable condition. Authorities have not yet released further details about what led to the situation.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for watching. This Is Now. We'll get more to that story in later editions of HNN. But first, China delivered stern warnings to U.S. leaders if House Speaker Nancy Pelosi decides to visit Taiwan. Now, some background on the tension. Congress has had strong bipartisan support for Taiwan, and Pelosi has been a longtime critic of China on human rights. She is second in line for the U.S. presidency, which would make her the highest-ranking U.S. politician to visit Taiwan in 25 years. Dylan Ancheta has more.
Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi's potential trip to Taiwan is upsetting some officials in China. Today, China's Ministry of National Defense urged Pelosi to cancel her visit to Taipei. In a statement, the ministry said China demands the U.S. take concrete actions to fulfill its commitment not to support Taiwan independence. China's foreign ministry warned last week it would take, quote, resolute and forceful measures, end quote, should Pelosi go ahead with her trip. And last Wednesday, President Joe Biden said the U.S. military thinks a Taiwan visit by Pelosi is not a good idea right now. Pelosi has not publicly confirmed the status of her travel plans. Meanwhile, here's what John Kirby, the National Security Council Coordinator for Strategic Communications, had to say about China's recent actions.
We have been seeing the Chinese increase their level of aggressiveness in the Indo-Pacific region. We certainly have seen an increase in their bellicose rhetoric with respect to Taiwan and to other false territorial and maritime claims in the Indo-Pacific. I would just tell you that, again, nothing's changed about our one China policy, and nothing's changed about the fact that we're going to continue to fly, sail, and operate where international law and international waters permit us to do that.
Taiwan held a series of air and naval drills off its eastern coast today. That's according to the Defense Ministry, which said that drills lasted around 2 hours, were simulating an attack from the east. Taiwan's president was in attendance and could be seen inspecting these drills from a vessel. The drills themselves are a part of the island's annual exercises that last about a week, and they're aimed at boosting Taiwan's preparedness against any possible attack from China. We'll keep a close eye on this story and bring you any developments. For This Is Now, I'm Dylan Ancheta.
The man who admitted to assassinating former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe will be going through a psychiatric evaluation for the next few months. Officials say 41-year-old Tetsuya Yamagami was moved to a detention house Monday morning, and it's expected he'll be there until the end of November. A mental health evaluation is required before he can be formally charged and tried for Abe's murder. Abe was shot to death earlier this month while giving a campaign speech. Meanwhile, Japanese Emperor Emeritus Akihito, the father of the current Emperor Naruhito, is recovering after being diagnosed with heart failure. The Emperor Emeritus was diagnosed with the condition following an MRI scan, and while his condition has improved, a spokesperson has said that he's taking medication.
Searching for a solution to the housing shortage. What would the state's next governor do to fix the problem? Well, our Grace Lee tells us what both Democrats and Republicans had to say in our latest HNN campaign special.
So in our series, The Job Interview, we asked them how they would fix it.
What we can do is we can come down very hard on illegal rentals, illegal Airbnbs, unoccupied properties. If we do that, there's right now 42,000 units that are owned by mainlanders that are illegally being used as Airbnbs. We're only 50,000, or so they say, 50,000 units short for a decent inventory for our housing situation. If you shift tens of thousands of units into the housing inventory, the macroeconomic reality is the prices are going to come down a lot.
You need to disincentivize outside mainland money from coming here to Hawaii to buy our homes. How do you do that? You have to work with the county mayors and the county council to create a tax bracket that taxes out-of-state, non-occupied homeowners.
We are in an emergency, and we need to work together to address all these issues. So many businesses now have vacated or have reduced the number of office square footage that they need. Could we take some of those and rezone and modify them?
Republicans Duke Iona and BJ Penn declined to appear in our job interview. But Heidi Tsunayoshi says she would consider pausing all luxury developments.
I definitely believe that should be a consideration on the table, especially when we look at our infrastructure and our water and our sewer capacity and even our capacity for electricity, especially on Oahu with the rail coming online. We've already heard how we're going to connect all of that to the grid and how it's going to maintain. And as an island state and with limited resources, I would definitely consider something like that.
You can watch the highlights from our interviews streaming at hawaiinewsnow.com and then for the rest of the week at 8 p.m. on K5.
The Secret Service says a Waipahu man went on a big money spending spree with forged checks. Arlene Kawano has more on the felony charges he now faces.
The man used his own name and address when he allegedly tried to bail out friends from OCCC using counterfeit checks. One of them had a bail of $760,000. Samuela Tui Kolongo Hao Jr. has a long criminal history in the state system, but now he is also facing federal charges after the Secret Service says he attempted to buy a Land Rover and bail out 3 others from OCCC using fake checks.
The allegation is not that he was trying to be a bondsperson. It was that he was trying to bail these people out for the cash amount of bail in order to get them out of custody.
One of them, Gary Dean McCormick Fesengaiga, who has since pleaded guilty to his role in a fatal hit-and-run in Waihawa in November 2020. According to the federal criminal complaint, a month after that crash, Tui Kolonga Hao went to court and wrote a check for $760,000 to bail out Fesengaiga. He had another check for $40,000 to bail out Jennifer Lees, who had been arrested on hope probation, and $50,000 on a check to bail out fellow identity theft suspect Matthew Chung.
It's a red flag because whether you're employed or not employed, under a criminal investigation or not, hardly anyone can just write out a check for $700,000.
The courts did not accept the checks, so the 3 remained in jail. The federal complaint doesn't describe the relationship between them. Tui Kolonga Hao is charged with multiple counts of identity theft and bank fraud. I'm Lynn Kawano, Hawaii News Now.
The State Department of Health will start making appointments for monkeypox vaccinations starting tomorrow. The shots are reserved for those at higher risk of the virus. That includes adults who've been in contact with confirmed patients in the last 2 weeks, as well as gay, bisexual, and transgendered people who've recently been in contact with others in high-risk venues. To make an appointment, call 808-586-4462 and look for even more information on your HNN digital platforms. Now it's time for Unraveling Your Traveling. You know, both Democrats and Republicans there in D.C. have plans for dealing with the ongoing travel crisis. I want to play out some of what Senator Lindsey Graham had to say, Republican from South Carolina. Here's what he said.
I believe the country's on the wrong track in many ways, but no worse wrong track system than the current airline situation. You just can't get where you're going in a reliable fashion because of the shortage of pilots and the stress on air crews.
Graham's comments come after the country's pilot shortage has fueled flight cuts and cancellations. He's introducing new legislation that would raise the mandatory retirement age for commercial airline pilots to 67 from 65. The proposed legislation would not change any other pilot qualifications and would require airlines to continue using training and qualification programs approved by the FAA. Now, the FAA didn't immediately comment on this new bill, but keep in mind, back in 2007, the mandatory retirement age for airline pilots was raised to 65 from 60. On the other side of the aisle, in a letter obtained by CNN, Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren is urging the Transportation Secretary to use his vast powers to protect consumers by cracking down on the airline industry. The lawmaker wants the Transportation Department to, quote, aggressively use its authority to hold airlines accountable for surging prices, mounting cancellations, and growing delays. She points out that the recent travel chaos comes barely 2 years after Uncle Sam bailed out the airline industry during the COVID-19 crisis.
For the first time ever, a Honolulu satellite city hall will be offering passport services. Our Casey Lund has the details from Ala Moana Center.
Aloha from the City Satellite Hall office here at Ala Moana Center. A really cool thing that's happening here, really unique. This is the first time that a city hall in the city and county of Honolulu will be accepting those passport application appointments. To tell us a little bit more, Kim Hashiro is with us, director of the city's customer service department. Tell us a little bit about how this is going to work, Kim.
So we're really happy to provide this new service for the city and county of Honolulu, and customers can go to our website, make an appointment at Aloha Q. We'll be offering appointments starting August 1st throughout the day. And what's really important is that they go to our website to look at the information that we have there. There's detailed information on what to expect. So the appointment takes about 10 to 15 minutes. We ask applicants to bring a completed application form, but not to sign it. It needs to be witnessed here in our office. They also need to bring their passport photo with them and documentation to support their identity and citizenship and payment.
And the passport photo as well.
Yes.
I also want to ask, this is not necessarily for renewals. Those are still done mostly online through the federal government, correct?
Right. It's actually a mail-in process, so this would be for new applications. And on our website and on the actual application form, it identifies what types of passport transactions we'll be providing.
Very good. And again, you said about 10 to 15 minutes here at Satellite City Hall. Really, the idea behind this is to kind of alleviate some of the backlog at other passport offices, right?
Correct. So there are other satellite locations throughout the state, libraries, post offices, but there's still a high demand for the service. And what we're going to be doing is, this is the first city location that will be opening, and we really hope to alleviate that wait time for an appointment, which currently can run weeks to months.
Very good, especially as we start to see people want to get out and do a little bit more international travel. Kim Hashiro, thank you so much for being with us. Again, if you missed any of that, we'll have the details online at our website at hawaiinewsnow.com. For now, we'll send things back to you.
That passport struggle is always real when you have to renew it. Get those documents in line. That's definitely going to make it more convenient. All right, a little bit more travel news, and this is a really fun Unraveling Your Traveling report update. Have you ever heard of Resort Pass? Well, it's for the web on a browser or on an app, so check it out. The company partners with hotels to offer day passes, spa passes, and cabanas for guests that don't have an overnight booking at a resort or hotel, but they still want to use those pools and amenities. So once your booking is confirmed, you'll receive a confirmation email with a booking ID, which will allow you to check in for that day pass at the hotel. So here's one I found at the Super Luxe Kahala Hotel and Resort. Yeah, if you were going to book this hotel tonight, Ashley, it would cost $650 for one night. But if you were just going to live here in town, or you're living here in town, and you want to just go and use the facilities and amenities, a day pass is going to cost you $75 for an adult, a little bit less for children. I think it's around $45. But really cool. And the deal here for me is the cabana rentals, because they have awesome cabanas, and that's for two people, $155.
Okay.
Closer to $160 when you get the tax involved. So I also found another one, and this is over in Kona. Let me get that up there. The Outrigger Kona Resort and Spa. You can see day passes there starting at $40 for adults. Cabanas starting at $110. I'm not sure if that's for two on this deal or not. But you can see there is some savings to be found here. The Resort Pass says its services are offered in more than 200 cities across the U.S., Canada, Mexico, and the Caribbean. I noticed the options really do vary from place to place. There was a lot of options here on the islands, not so many in the Vegas area, but some really cool ones for Los Angeles and New York. Also a good idea, something you can check out. Just check with the hotel you're interested in, call them directly, see if they offer any sort of Resort Pass service, because a lot of them do. You just got to call and ask.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yep. You know where we're headed after this?
Where?
Day pass. No, I wish.
Here we come.
It's more like laundry day for me. All right, guys, taking you live outside to San Diego. Yeah, it's only 73 degrees there compared to I think we're approaching upper 80s. Yeah, Guy Hoggy's got some really cool video to share with us now. Here he is.
Take a look at this funnel cloud spotted in Waikoloa. All the ingredients were there: light wind, rising hot air, afternoon cloud buildups, and high humidity levels. This is from Sunday. I want to say mahalo to Steve Lague for the video. That is incredible. I'm surprised we didn't get more videos sent in, because that was so stunning. Really nice stuff. And we could get those same conditions for us here on Oahu, maybe Thursday or Friday, so heads up on that. For now, we're looking at really nice conditions, and consider we're 56 days deep into hurricane season. Still very quiet here at home. However, in the East Pacific, it still remains very active. They're looking at the 6th named storm of the season. This is Tropical Storm Frank. Now, Frank is expected to strengthen with those favorable sea surface, warm sea surface temperatures, as well as not much wind shear. So it's going to strengthen into a hurricane sometime by the weekend, and then it's going to move to the north, where it's expected to weaken. Because it's so far away, it's not expected to impact our weather at all. That's good news there.
Severe flooding in the St. Louis, Missouri area is being blamed for at least one death. Trinity Chavez picks up the story.
Evacuees waded through waist-deep floodwaters with their pets, while others hitched a ride with rescue crews in St. Peters, Missouri.
We woke up this morning seeing that this area was underwater, so we all tried to come out as quickly as we could. And we get here and we couldn't go in.
Torrential rain overnight, up to 10 inches in some areas, caused widespread flash flooding in St. Louis and surrounding areas.
It has receded a little bit. Now we're seeing the weight of the water cause some issues with buildings. We're having some partial roof collapse.
Kenneth Brooks thought he could drive through the rising water.
So I'm thinking like, oh, it's not a big deal. No, it is. Because my car stops. I see in front of me there's other cars stopped. My car wouldn't move. I was submerged. I didn't know what to do. I've never been in this situation in my life.
With the rain still coming down, some evacuees arrived at shelters to ride out the storm.
That was a little bit more than I was expecting. Like I said, there was a couple feet of water in there when I left, so probably have to see what made it out.
In downtown St. Louis, crews cleared drains as they worked to reopen roads to help the city dry out and get moving again. Trinity Chavez, CBS News, New York.
State officials say the woman who was bitten by Rocky, the Hawaiian monk seal in Waikiki, did nothing wrong and won't be fined. The victim's husband told DLNR they were aware of the warnings and abided by them. He says Rocky and her pup were not visible when his wife entered the water, along with as many as 10 other swimmers. DLNR says the woman was bitten on her face, back, and arms. Her husband said he thought she was going to die. Now, the agency says she won't face state fines because she was not aware that the seals were so close and because she didn't purposely provoke them. Rocky is expected to nurse her pup for another month before they leave Kaimana Beach.
All right. Look for even more updates on that story on your H&N digital platforms. A lot of people talking about that one. All right. So what is the internet chatting about today? Well, we got an update on one of our auction stories. Yeah, this is another update from Heritage Auctions' latest Hollywood memorabilia event. Jack Nicholson's purple Joker suit right there. Yeah, you remember that from the 1989 Batman movie? Yeah, well, it went for some big bucks. $125,000. It's a very legendary costume.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that's more than the Maryland dress went for.
Yep.
Which is pretty impressive.
He was a great Joker.
Yeah, really, really good.
Well, say goodbye to the Choco Taco. That's right. Klondike says it has discontinued the taco-shaped ice cream treat. Choco Tacos have been around since the 80s, but the company says they're not as popular as other products. So fans already posting their heartbreak and disappointment on social media. But there may still be hope. That's because apparently Reddit's co-founder tweeted an offer to Klondike's parent company to buy the rights to those Choco Tacos.
I mean, they're good, but they were always sort of underwhelming to me. They're sort of just the same as a drumstick, but they are a little easier to eat.
I don't know if I've ever had one, now that I think
Really?
about
And
it.
Wow, okay. Yeah, well, you're right along with the lines of that story. Not very popular there.
Yeah. Well, Walmart says inflation is actually leading them to cut prices on some products. Check this out. The CEO said rising food and fuel prices have many shoppers pulling back on buying clothes and other items. That makes sense. So to get rid of a huge buildup of inventory, the company is slashing prices on clothing and some big ticket products. Now, the company also expects a general slowdown on customer spending in the second half of the year.
All right, guys, call your friends on the mainland right now because there is $110 million. I'm sorry, 800. I caught that. I was just trying to fool you, so give me the rest. $810 million up for grabs in tonight's Mega Million jackpot. This is huge news. Carrie Sanders has an update for us in your Good News Now.
Hey guys, how you doing? Look, I got my ticket right here, Mega Millions. Let's hope I'm the winner. You guys, of course, hope you are the winner. Let's talk about the odds, though. 1 in 302 million, which means you are more likely to have quintuplets than win the lottery. So there you go. But if I want to reverse it around and give you sort of some hope, you are more likely to win the Mega Millions than be hit by a meteor as you're out walking. So depends how you look at it. Bottom line is it's a $2 bet. It's all about dreaming, and we'll hopefully all be more than dreaming by tomorrow when they announce the winners tonight. But in the meantime, no lines here right now, but there have been lines all over the place because $800 million. That is the fourth most valuable jackpot ever in the United States, guys.
Well, good luck to you, Carrie, and share the wealth, please.
Yeah, so you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah.
Well, it's a special day today. So there are special days to honor our mothers in May, our fathers in June, even our grandparents in September. But did you know it's a day today to set aside to celebrate aunties and uncles?
Woohoo.
Yep, National Aunt and Uncles Day. So aunties and uncles often show their nieces and nephews a lot of love and attention growing up.
There's
Here
mine.
in Hawaii, we don't have to be related to be an aunt or an uncle. So
Nope.
make sure to reach out to your favorite one today.
There's Jack and Byron.
Aw. That's Marcus.
Oh, yeah.
My little nephew on Kauai. He's the best.
Oh, I just cut you off.
It's
but,
okay.
Yeah, cutie pie. That's going to do it for This Is Now, everyone. Ashley's back first at 4 on KHNL for all the updates throughout the afternoon.
See ya.